My name is Thailand Pham, and I'm a writer at People Magazine. I'm here with an amazing group of restaurateurs and chefs. We've plucked straight out of the heart of the food industry, and they're incredibly inventive and creative and amazing, knowledgeable people whose brains we're going to borrow just for an hour while we discuss this topic of Asian fusion. Like what it is, what it's different, how is it different now than the Asian fusion you thought you knew, and how it's going to sort of change the culinary landscape. And basically start with what Asian fusion is. And I mean, I feel like everyone has a different definition of it, whether it's fusing cuisines that are Asian together or Asian cuisines with Western or Eastern cuisines. So please kind of describe like what you think Asian fusion is.
I think for me, I guess fusion kind of sounds like confusion, and I'm confused as well. So it's really, I think at the end of the day, it's a very personal thing, like Chef Vikas was saying, and it's something that I feel like a physicist kind of took the liberty to put a word to what these chefs were doing, because at the end of the day, he's a physicist. He doesn't understand, or she's a physicist. She doesn't really understand it. So it's kind of a nasty label, I think, or it's a misnomer, in my opinion.
In terms of like modernization, I mean, Eddie, your roving truck is essentially, totally something that wasn't here in, let's say, like the 90s or whatever, And so, like, how do you feel about the idea of just kind of embracing the concept of something that's new and different and hot right now?
Right. I think the reason why I got into the whole truck business was because I thought that there was an opportunity to kind of bring a underappreciated cuisine to the forefront, and how much what better way than doing it on wheels, where you can kind of go from point A to point B, point C. We can be in 10 places in 10 days. So to answer your question about modernizing it, I think what we've kind of discussed is really different ways of introducing new concepts, new ideas, new foods, whether it's going to be seen, because at the end of the day, people eat with their eyes first, or with the ears. I like to tell other people this, because you don't really go into a restaurant, straight out the gate. You might have heard it from somewhere. Oh, this is, Noma has some great dim sum, or I'm walking by Chef Vikas' restaurant, I smell like some awesome curry or something really tasty, then I go in. But so for us, we try to, at least with Korilla, we try to kind of get all the senses down, and then the last thing is to kind of actually eat the food. But also what we try to do differently is, we try to bring it on a different experience, because I feel in general that, with Korean food and Korean cuisine, it's pretty much an empty canvas, at least in America. And so we kind of like to go wild, and we like to kind of do something fun and exciting, because at the end of the day, I'm not a chef. I never said I was. I actually never worked in a restaurant. So I'm kind of approaching this from an eater perspective, So I kind of like to imagine, like, what would I want to see? What would I want to eat? What would I want to smell? How would I like to be treated when I come to a restaurant? And that's the approach that we take at Korilla.
I'm really
so we might make a lot of mistakes.
Culinary idols or mentors or inspirations are in terms of having started your business. Is there anyone particular that you kind of drew inspiration from?
Well, my inspiration, I'm going to kind of stick with Chef Vikas on this. It's actually my mom. And similar, it's kind of on the same vein, but it's a little bit mirrored in the sense that my mom, is a horrible cook. but she acts like she's the best cook, and acts like as if like I want to eat her food every single day. So it's kind of like, it's what it is. I guess what I'm talking about is really, there's a Korean word for this called jeongseong. It's like she has this loving hand into the food, and that's something that was really touching for me, despite the fact that she really can't cook. And I tell her this too. I'm like, come on. And I think that's one of the reasons why I got into the food business, is because I think I could do better than you, and I want to, but at the same time, that's where I learned, I guess, it's hospitality is a way to describe it, but basically creating an experience, kind of really giving love through food, through experiences. And it might only be for an hour, but still, it's something pure, and that comes from the heart.
We all know it's really risky to start a restaurant in especially New York. So I'm just curious if you all had formal business plans, if you like, or were you just kind of walking down St. Mark's and saw a location and said, this is the right spot? Or, you know, how you kind of went about starting your businesses?
I mean, I would kind of disagree with that. You don't want to go to your investor and say, you know what, I'm going to need some money from you and I'm going to need some luck. I think, you know, you want to kind of go into this, you know, thinking that you know exactly what you're doing. But for me personally, I had no experience working in a restaurant. So I thought the best thing to do was, you know, kind of learn from other people, learn from other established restaurateurs. And, you know, at the end of the day, a restaurant is a retail business. And, you know, like they say, it's location, location, location. So there are times when, you know, I feel like a lot of people go look out for spaces and they think, you know what, I see a lot of people walking today. You know, I feel good about this location. I think this is a great location. I don't think that's the right approach. You know, I think, you know, I also come from you know, finance, math, you know, econ background. So I like to think of it more in terms of just numbers, you know, and numbers don't lie. So, you know, what I think with the trucks is it's actually, it's a location spotter. And there are also, and you can hire consultants for this, like Starbucks does this, Chipotle does this, where they actually hire people to like literally count how many people walk, you know, along a street on the north side, south side, east side, west side. And all these things really, really matter. And I think it'd be foolish for you to not think that it does matter. So once you got a location down, I think that's pretty much like 50% of it at least. And then, you know, I think the next step is to really coming up with a good team, a good management team, which includes a great chef, great menu, and good marketing. I think nowadays, at least in the food truck business, a lot of people ask, what's the secret to your success and everything? I think it's the management. You know, for us, we work with friends, but also it's really social media, and that is the game for us. We don't have a business plan. Our business plan is social media. And that's, I think what it is, my theory, if you guys are willing to entertain this thought, is really that it's kind of we're reverting back to the origins of actually eating down and sitting down at a table, where it was kind of the original social network right there. It was like this table. But what's going on with Facebook and Twitter and all these other social media tools is that it's kind of diverting people away from the original social network. People are kind of communicating now through mobile phones, through computers, through telephones and things like that, which is kind of going against the grain of what a restaurant is supposed to do, where it's face-to-face. You know, you kind of are in each other's company and stuff. But that's not to say that we should disavow, you know, social media and all the social tools, because, you know, now more than ever people know about Korilla in the Philippines, in India. I think what we have to do is kind of embrace the change, and I think that what social media is doing, it's really going to shift the way that we socialize. It's obviously done that, but also the way we consume products, and, you know, within that, you know, consume food.